Hail to the king, baby.
Hello, everyone. This is the GBB podcast. Today I have Scott from Scott's Game Asylum. Is that the whole thing, right?
Yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
I'm
I don't
standing
mess
in
it
for
up.
Danny O'Dwyer from No Clip. I know you tried to get him on the show,
I
and
did try a couple
I s-
times. I've sent him like a few messages trying to. I don't think it's gonna happen, but you never know.
oh, he's a busy Irish boy, you know.
Yeah. Hey, I mean, I
You make
I
him round to it.
annoyed Raphael enough to get an interview with him, so you never know. Never know.
All right.
So how you been?
Yeah, good. Wow, I've seemed to be in a resurgence of making a lot of stuff recently.
Yeah.
I've been very spotty for like a few years on content, and because so I just do it as a hobby. I don't really do it to
Yes.
aspire or anything bigger. But now I've got a little bit of a following, and I like making content. I like entertaining people. I seem to be in a groove now, and especially the last few years have been very formative personally. So
That's good.
it's given me a lot of time to focus on things I want to do rather than feel like I got to do stuff and be miserable about it.
Right.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, I'm doing well.
Good, that's good. Um, I've seen a few of your videos. I think I watched the one on Silent Hill 2. I definitely a few others because like you've kind of been on my radar for a while, but it was only a little bit more recently in the last few months that I started seeing you on like some of the discords and stuff like that.
Yeah, I did have one. I know you was on there quite a lot.
Yeah, yeah.
Sharing your stuff. I've now recently deleted it because
Oh,
there's
did
no
you get
one
rid of
on
it?
there. Yeah, I rather lurk in other people's houses than have my
Yeah.
own house.
I mean, I
So
started my own Discord as well, and I don't do anything with it, so it's just kind of there if I occasionally post something like that. But I don't really, I mean, between trying to make videos and other things, I don't really have the time to moderate unless someone else wanted to do that for me because I don't really have the time to do that.
yeah, and as well is that us being smaller
Oh yeah,
channels in that regard. It's harder to bring people to that. And
yeah,
to be honest, there's a billion like Discord channels, and honestly, I rather just come in and say hello and just dick around and
right,
jerk
yeah,
off than
that works. Yeah, I
have
mean,
my own like little building.
yeah,
You
yeah,
know, I
yeah, that
I just
works.
find it more. But yeah, like I think I saw you through the Horrify website.
Oh, the actual website? Oh yeah,
Yeah, and yeah, so yeah, we sort of swam in the same
yeah. That was actually a
circles for a
cool
while.
little like opportunity that Randolph kind of gave
Hmm.
me, I guess, because he has like you and several others on there, which I thought was pretty cool. Because I didn't even know he had a website, and he just messaged me one day. He's like,
Hmm.
"Hey, would you want to be on? Would it be cool if I put your stuff on the website and whatever?" And I was like, "Yeah, I've never had my stuff on a website. Hell yeah, let's do it!" Like it was cool.
Yeah, I got that as well. I got an
Yeah,
unsolicited like DM from Randolph.
yeah.
First to compliment me on my manlish good looks, but enough of that. And yeah, he said, "Oh, do you want to join this website?" The thing is, though, before that, I was affiliated with another
Oh, okay.
like a retro gaming group, UK
Yeah.
retro whatever, and it became more of a drag rather than something I wanted to be a
Wanted to
part
do.
of because I'm a bit of a social weirdo, I guess, in that regard. So when he asked me about it, I'm thinking, I don't know, like, do I want to be a part of this? But
Right.
it seems to be pretty hands off. He said, I just want to throw. Basically, he just wants to have all his favorite toys in one box,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
guess.
because I mean, the
So
like high functioning medium was on there. I think the Summer of Mark
yeah,
and maybe a few others. There was several people in there that I would recognize. I was like, oh, that's cool. Okay, like it just seemed like he
yeah,
mostly posts all that stuff on there. I've checked out the website a few times, but he also has a Discord for it as well.
yeah. He does, but he is a busy man, so you
Yeah,
barely get to see him that
I think
much.
he's been on vacation for the last little bit actually.
Yeah,
I
I
haven't seen much
see. I
from him
see.
a little bit. I think he was on vacation somewhere. I think he's
Yeah, because I see him. He
coming back.
posts very like. Yeah, I see him very. He posts like weird times as well. He'll
Yeah.
do like 10 videos in one go and then nothing for like 2 weeks.
Yeah,
But
because he
like I said, I think
does.
that's more of
Yeah.
his like it's a public what's the best thing? It's like a public playlist for him, you know.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
He's got
Yeah.
all his favorite tubers in one
Yeah.
site, but I don't know if it actually, gets more views or exposure from that way,
I'm
but
not sure.
I just why
Yeah,
not?
I definitely don't know. I mean, I've not noticed whether or not it helped any of my videos or anything like that or not. Then again, it's really hard to tell like how much of a difference a lot of things make. Like, I mean, whether you share it on Discord or Reddit or Twitter or X, that kind of stuff. Whether that helps you or not. I mean, I'm sure there's a way to dig and find out, but I don't ever really look into it.
Yeah, I've done all the analytics bullshit before. I don't anymore. I don't look at that stuff because it's just a bottomless pit of
It,
whatever
it kind of
numbers.
is, and I think when they did the YouTube, what is it, the studio or whatever that can give you all your analytical data if you look into it. Like
Mm,
they got the app and then the extension
yeah,
to the site. And I mean, for one, I've noticed how inaccurate the data on there is. Um, it's very inaccurate. And I mean,
mm,
it'll even tell you sometimes that you have like less views on a video than you do, or you have less subscribers than you do. A lot of weird little, I guess, bugs in the system. But also, you sit there and look at that, and like, I think the biggest one for the reason I don't look at it anymore is the watch time. Watch time
yeah,
is not something you just don't want to look at because you got a video that's got like 500 views or something, then you go and like 90% of people watch 30 seconds. You're like, well, that kind
yeah.
of sucks. Like, they didn't even see the video. So for me now, it's
It
just
can be,
like,
yeah,
yeah, for me now, it's just like only thing I care about is subscribers and likes. You know what I mean? Like as far as whether it does well or not. Um, I don't really
yeah.
care if it
And
does well
also,
personally, but I mean, it is what it is. It's
mm,
just a side hobby. If it goes somewhere, it goes somewhere. If it doesn't, it doesn't.
but yeah, also I went down that hole. Like a few years ago, like
Yeah,
I would check. I had the YT Studio app on my phone, and I would
yeah,
at least check it maybe once or twice an hour. If I
yeah,
was awake, I'd be checking that app. And it got to the point where I'm like, what am I doing? Like, this isn't good, this isn't healthy in a way. And I think what really made the light bulb go off in my head, because I stopped using the app, and it took a few weeks for me to stop that habit, because I would,
yeah.
still try and install the app on my phone. And no, but I think it's the dark side of content creation. Uh, it's a video done by uh, Super Eye Patch Wolf, and he goes into because he interviews a lot of tubers. I tried to be interviewed, but a few like people I do like watching
Yeah,
have been interviewed. Pixel a Day was one of them. She's all about walking
yeah,
simulators and stuff. But
yeah. I
anyway,
like Pixel a Day.
yeah. So that video, there's one bit where there's talking about the analytics, and it's essentially YouTube trying to gamify the system, trying to get
Right.
you addicted to looking at it.
Looking at your analytics and
Yeah, because they want you to keep, pumping out content
yeah,
because they need to keep the money flowing. And so, yes, in that regard, creator and company are a symbiotic like thing. We put out more films, more videos, they put on adverts, and they make more money. But then that sort of the analytics, especially, is very parasitic in a way because it's basically trying to put that like all in coaching fear on you to make more content, to keep pulling out more stuff.
yeah, yeah. Because it's
And that
that
was,
fight for like consistency and like how long your video should be and stuff like
yeah,
that. Like, one day YouTube says that more people watch hour-long videos, so people start converting to that. And then a week from there, it's
mm,
like, oh, well, they actually like 5-minute long videos. But then there's a push
yeah,
for shorts, and it's just like, oh my goodness. There's so many things that you have to go around now, like especially if you are someone who's monetized. Like, I mean, good luck playing something like Dead Island 2 or um Callisto Protocol or anything like that in your videos because there's so much gore, and YouTube completely demonetizes anything with gore. And if you cuss too
Well,
much and stuff like that.
yeah.
Even
Considering
if you put in your video it's not for kids, it still demonetizes.
it depends as well. I've not out my 12 years of doing YouTube videos, and I have deleted a lot of videos, so I'll admit
Right.
there. I've only ever had one ever demonetized. And that was, and I openly knew that was I was pushing the boundary on
Right.
that one. At first, I didn't even have it like for monetization, but then they changed the setting where they
Yeah.
just put all my videos on the monetize one day, and that one got demonetized like pretty quickly afterwards. But I knew that was going to be a video that was not going to go
Right,
anywhere,
right, right, right.
and that was a video on Manhunt. But that was
Mhm.
back
Well,
when I
yeah,
was
that's
doing when. But that was back when I just didn't give a shit. I would
right.
just I went all out in videos, a little bit too far, maybe, probably too edgy. But like most of the time, I don't have a problem. That's because, and as a horror tuber, you would think that, but
Yeah.
not really. As long as you avoid that 15-second to a minute window, where you're not going, you're saying all the fucking words in the
Yeah, there's
in the Bible, and
yeah, there's
most of the
weird
time they don't give a
windows for
shit.
this stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. Same with like skin and stuff like that. Like I remember I got a community strike when I first started doing YouTube content because I was very inspired by Brad. What's his fucking name? The cinema snob.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah.
He reviewed a lot of like trash, a lot of like porn knockoffs and stuff. And as a April Fool's joke, I thought it'd be funny to review a Lara Croft themed softcore porn film. Didn't put any skin in it. I cut out all that stuff.
Right.
All I focused on was the story.
Yeah.
And I put that video out, and about a day or so later, I got a community strike for
Oh
it.
god.
So, but I
Right.
was pushing the boundary anyway. At that
Yeah, that was
time,
yeah.
it
That was
was
a little pushing it a little. Can I
yeah,
test it?
and
How far can I go? Kind of thing.
yeah,
Yeah.
and to me that was the joke anyway. I was seeing how much I could get away with, and
Right.
not on that one. But to me, like as a more like horror-ish YouTube
Focus. Yeah.
guy, I don't really get that many issues with it. Most of the time, they seem to get away with it. Maybe because I'm more fry. If it was
Maybe.
if
I
it was a
mean,
couple of million
I've seen some
subscribers, it
people
might be a
that
different
are.
story.
Yeah. I mean, I've definitely seen people that are bigger not have the issue with horror games, but I've also
Hmm.
seen. I mean, I've seen people like G-Man, for instance, who covered like Dead Island and something else that came out this year, I think.
Yeah,
And they had to very strategically edit a lot of stuff to not show too much gore, or they would get demonetized because I think he even says in his video, or maybe someone else did, that they originally uploaded it and it was demonetized before it even went live or something like
yeah,
that. Like it was just super quick, so he had to go back and re-edit and all this stuff and just do a real strategic edit, and that kind of has become an issue. Like with Dying Light, Dead Island, any games like showing a lot of gore with zombies or more human-related
mm.
enemies. Not as much so for something like Doom, with it being demons, but and I think
And
that's
it's more
interesting.
stylized.
Yeah, way more stylized. Yeah,
Yeah,
but yeah, I don't know. It's a weird. YouTube is they have a very inconsistent like as far as what can be monetized, can't be monetized, what's copyright, what's not copyright. There's just so much like weird specifics about it all.
yeah. And to be fair, considering are you monetized?
No, no.
Well, and considering that until now, where I can make a decent amount of money a month on it. I'm not going to say numbers. I won't be paying rent with it, but
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
um, even now, like even before all that, when I was making maybe a couple of quid a month,
yeah.
I didn't really give a shit about that type of things. Yes, I would push the boundaries, but if a video got demonetized, oh no, I'm going to lose £2. Not a
Right,
big
right, right,
deal,
right.
you know.
Yeah,
I I and there, when I was especially doing this YouTube stuff at that time where they were having like that big what was it, the adpocalypse. I think it was at 2015, 16, something like that.
yeah, somewhere around there.
it was back when it was Gamergate and all the
Oh yeah, all that
right
stuff.
wingers were getting really platformed and shit. It was like it was an absolute fucking
Yeah,
shit
it
show
was
at
yeah,
that time.
for
Um,
sure.
yeah, it that I've lost my trail of thought now. Yeah.
It's all
What
good.
was I saying? Oh yeah, yeah. It's that time was, you could say anything and you get demonetized. And
Yeah.
there was a time where had to question a few times where, like, all right, why can't I get this monetized on a few videos when I would just pull them down, re-upload them, and they were fine.
Yeah.
So,
That's weird. Yeah,
yeah,
I'm not monetized. I mean, it'd be cool if I was, I'm kind of working towards that, but I don't really push the boundary too much, but I don't really hold back in other areas. Like I'm not afraid to cuss or do different things like this. So it's like,
mm,
that might be an issue later on down the line, but I stick within, copyright and stuff like that. Like I don't have any copyright. I have one video still that has copyright. I'm probably going to take it down eventually. I mentioned it on my last podcast, but it was like a Guardians of the Galaxy review that I did like several years ago, and
is it a strike or is it a claim?
I can't remember. I feel like it's a strike, not a claim, because it's blatant. Like it's a whole like half of a big rock song. I just can't remember specifically which one. That's like in an entire segment. I'm not speaking in
Probably
the
kickstart
segment.
my heart.
Yeah, I think it actually might have been or something like that. But there's
Yeah, it's
so
Guardians.
many.
It's got to be kickstart
Yeah,
my heart.
there's
It's
so
got to
many
be.
in that game that it's just insane. But yeah, I just wasn't really, paying it. I wasn't really thinking about that when I made the video. I was like, oh yeah, there's so much licensed music. I wasn't really thinking about that. But I want to make a video on that game again one day, so I'll probably end up just privating that one or deleting it or something because it's not even like it's that great. So I might just make another one day because that game's pretty cool. It's definitely worth revisiting.
Hmm.
Um,
Well, saying that with your content, I was going through,
yeah,
like I said earlier, it's like you've been doing this for like 10 years, and I was just having a look because
yeah. I mean,
personally, I've gotten rid of a lot. I've gotten rid of a lot of shit. I will
I
be
think,
honest.
I think my
Like
channel goes back to what? It goes back to is it 9
10
or
years
10
apparently.
years? 10 years.
Yeah, 10 years.
I
Yeah.
think I had my channel a little bit longer than that before I started uploading, but I think my channel itself is actually like 14 years old or something.
Wow. So you had that, well, 14 years ago. So yeah, that's like round about when YouTube started.
Yeah. And I mean, I think I did make some things before the like well, I definitely made some things before the most like the furthest back video you can go to. A lot of them
Hmm.
got deleted or a good bit of them got deleted. Some of them are just privated cuz like I want to keep them there for myself preservation, but I don't really think that some of them deserve to be seen because they're just not great.
Yeah.
But yeah, but there's still a lot there. I mean, I have like an insane amount of videos.
Yeah, I saw that, and it's like all those unboxings and stuff like that. Like,
Yeah,
I unboxings don't do anything for me, but it just
right.
like, was it just like, I'm just trying to get in the mindset. Was it like, you got a new game, and it's like, oh, I'm just going to record the box of it. I'm I'm not too sure where you got that because I don't know. It's like, where does that all come from? Was it just
The
like, oh,
the
fuck it, I'll do it.
the
Put
doing the
content up there,
unboxing,
or yeah.
thing in general, just like unboxing a regular box and just because like those videos, some of them are quite short, some of them are a little bit longer than regular. So like uh a lot of times it is just me like, oh, here's new game, look at the front, back, open it, look at the disc, maybe it's got a download code. See you guys, goodbye, have a good day. Um and I think so I had watched a lot of unboxings around the time that I started doing that.
Hmm.
And I think it was trying to find something that I could do within my means. Because I've
Yeah.
talked about it a little bit before, but when I started YouTube, my grandparents who raised me did not want me to do YouTube. And so I used to like record, I used to use my phone and record my TV, right? And I would record gameplay or glitches, and you can find those videos on there too. I'm sure you've seen those where there's like glitch videos and stuff. And then I would go like my granddad's computer, upload it, and then delete all traces of it and get rid of everything. And because I didn't have a way to upload anything, because at that time you couldn't even upload videos on your phone, or like I didn't even have a phone that
No.
had the app, but at that time, even when I did get a phone that did have it, you could not upload videos through your phone. So there was a long time of doing that, and then there was like a good space between. And so eventually, after doing all that, and that not really going anywhere, like what can I do that is still kind of close to what I can do, but I can't really do reviews. Even though if you go really far back, I do have several reviews of me just like, because all my gameplay videos and stuff, like I have them propped up on game controllers. I used to have a board, like a long it was like a
Right.
shelf. It was like a shelf. I put the shelf on top of a double stack storage container, like these white ones you'd buy at like Walmart or something. And I'd put it on there. I'd get like an Xbox 360 controller. I'd prop the phone against that, and then I have like my TV remote behind the controller. That way, it didn't go anywhere, and I didn't have anything else. And then I would just do it that way, and I would adjust it to the right angle and everything. I tried to zoom it in as much as possible to get most of the gameplay of the TV without cutting off too much and without showing the TV. And I mean, some of it was like kind of impressive that I was able to get it to look as decently as I did. But I did that for a long time, and so I hit a point where I was like, you know what, screw it. I'm gonna do unboxings. I liked at the time to watch unboxings. I occasionally do watch them now if it's like a collector's edition or something that I'm looking into. But it's also kind of like a weird niche kind of video. But that's what built the like initial probably a little over 100 plus subs that I had and I consistently had for like several years because I probably did exclusively unboxings for 3 plus years or longer. Actually, it might be 4 plus years. Yeah, it's probably 4 or 5, maybe even 6 years. It was a long time that I did just unboxings exclusively, and I tried to do reviews here and there, but it was still that like record your TV type method.
Oh yeah.
Um, and so yeah, I mean, it was kind of just like, hey, I'm just going to every time I buy a video game, every time I get a collector's edition or a special edition or pre-order thing or whatever, it's a physical copy. I'm just going to record it. I'm going to show the box, show what comes in the box, show the disc, and do all that. And some of them are a little bit more in depth. And then like there's some of them that are literally like a minute and a half. I actually have the most successful video on my entire channel. And oddly enough, I've met several other unboxing related people on this one for some reason. One guy's pretty cool, but it's old video now. It's like not 8 years old, 7 years old, 9 years old, something like that. And it's my Resident Evil collection unboxing. And it is my most successful video on my entire channel. Like it has like 50,000 views or something.
Mm.
And I'm like, why? Did you know it consistently gets views
Yeah.
today? It's like it's no shit, like a minute and 30 seconds. It consistently gets views almost every single day since that upload. Every day. I can go
It's the
right now.
irony as well.
Huh?
You could hack out any old
Yeah.
crap for like in 5 minutes, throw it up there,
Yeah.
and it will get so many views when you work on something that you spent weeks of your life on.
Dude.
Nothing.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
I have like even in the last year or so, I've put out some videos that that were like not they were bad or whatever, but I didn't put as much effort into them. It was kind of like, okay, I got an idea. I'm just gonna kind of throw the idea out there, get whatever it is I'm thinking about out there, and just kind of throw the video out. It wasn't like I'm gonna do a ton of editing, ton of research, anything like that. It was a lot more simplified version of it. I'm like, okay, I know it's not gonna do good. I throw it out there. I just want to get my opinion out there, and then somehow it hits like 500 views or something, and I'm like, are you kidding me? Why this one? But then like 2 weeks ago I did a video that, or I mean like 2 weeks prior to that video I did another one where it took me like 3 weeks to make it and write it and edit it and all this, and then it got like 90 or something. And it's just I don't get it. I don't get it. It's just weird how the algorithm works or however that works.
I just find it funny now. Like I
Most
years and
random
years
stuff.
ago now. Yeah, about 8, 9 years ago when I was covering like retro game stuff.
Yeah.
I put up a video because someone made a demo of Streets of Rage 4
Yeah.
before the one we have now. And it was like a 10-minute demo someone made on Itch.
Yeah.
I don't think it was even on Itch, actually. I think it might have been just on a community forum of some kind. And I put a video up
Yeah.
there, only about 2 minutes long. And that one got like, I think the time I got rid of it, because I deleted it in the end, because it was
Oh,
just
well.
like the albatross around my fucking neck. It would not go away. I think it had like 250,000 views. And it was a video I hacked out in probably an hour.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
Well,
put a little intro on it. I said so,
yeah.
you know, I showed the gameplay, and that
Yeah.
was it.
Well, see, that's the thing.
And that fucking video would not go away.
Yeah, I talked to somebody and I was like, okay, I have a feeling that to some degree that my old unboxing videos, and especially the ones that are consistently still getting views, I think that affects the direction the algorithm sends my newer stuff in to some degree or another. Maybe it doesn't, but I feel
Well,
like
we
it
don't
might.
know.
You know what I mean?
We don't know, do we? If
No,
we
we
did
don't,
know
because it's
that, you'd be able to
yeah,
game the system and they'll be all dead.
yeah,
To be honest, like the only reason why I mentioned your unboxing stuff is that because it's that verve, that YouTube, that sort of punky feel where
yeah,
you had an idea, you may have had this idea from another person, like, oh, I can do that,
yeah,
and you do it. And that's the charm of early YouTube, and
yeah.
especially, luckily for you, you didn't delete most of that stuff,
No,
which is great. I did,
I don't think
and I sometimes regret it because
I don't think
even
I
though I don't like
deleted.
those old videos,
I don't think I deleted a single unboxing that I ever did. Every single one of those still exist. The
yeah,
things that I did delete were just other random shit that doesn't even doesn't make any sense. I actually used to have I had some videos that me and some friends did of us pretending to be wrestlers and stuff. Like we do the fake punches and stuff like that, and do like backflips and stuff. And that those were funny and fun, but I got rid of those because they just didn't really fit anything that I was doing, and they didn't really make any sense.
yeah,
Um,
just goofing off.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, did that kind of answer your question about the unboxings? I don't know if I completely
Yeah,
answered
like I
that or
said, I
not.
was trying to say that it charmed me because it reminded me of how I started, where
Right.
you would have an idea and just do it. Like when I first started doing videos, apart I think Stoked Matty, if you ever heard of Stoked, he sort of had the same sort of come up where he found a SingStar microphone from a
Yeah.
charity shop. I found mine in my local used store,
Nice.
and that was my microphone. I had a stolen copy of Fraps for the computer, even though my hard drives were so tiny at the time, I could only record like 2 minutes worth of footage, and it would fill up the hard drive.
Yeah.
And I used a pirated copy of Windows Movie Maker, even though at the time, because I was an idiot, didn't realize that Windows Movie Maker was free. But I still had a pirate copy, and
Oh, it works.
it's like that's how those videos back then. Like I said, I don't even know they exist anymore because I had another channel before I had
Right.
this one, but they were awful. But they were the absolute just piss and vinegar of creativity
Yeah, and there's
on
a
the
certain
screen.
kind of like you said, charm. There's a certain kind of charm and
Yeah.
creativity to that. Even if it's not the best quality stuff, there's just something about that creativity of just trying to make it
Mm.
regardless. Which it's actually kind of funny, but all of my videos, like even to recently, minus the podcast, I make all of these videos on my phone.
Oh, really?
Like I edit them on my phone. I get footage from PC and my Xbox to make videos. Still to this day, minus
Oh,
podcasts. Podcasts I swap to DaVinci Resolve to edit them, and I've made one video on DaVinci, which was on Viewfinder. Wasn't the most amazing video, but yeah. So after my most recent video on Cocoon, like I'm taking a big hiatus for a while. Only thing I'll be releasing is podcasts. And I'm going to be swapping 100% for the first time to a PC editor in DaVinci Resolve for my next video. So that's going to be a pretty interesting swap for
yeah.
me because I spent the last like 3 years or so learning mobile editing on just some random ass editor I got for free.
Oh God, I can't imagine that.
It's actually, I mean, it's not bad.
Yeah.
It's not bad. It's different, and most people were like, "Man, PC is so much easier." But then, like, I started using PC Editor, and I'm like, I don't know if it's easier or not. But like, for instance, you can kind of see it. That's the editor where you upload the
Hmm.
videos and stuff. And like
I see. Yeah.
and you'd go in and modify and
Yeah.
all
Chop
that.
it up. Yeah.
Yeah. Um I mean, that's where I learned everything about like splicing music and adding in intros and outros. I used a free app on my phone to create my intro and outro, like all three of them that I've had, different ones for my videos, using like stock stuff to kind of make it my own, I guess.
Yeah, but that's like we said again. It's like
Yeah, it's
you
still
worked
that.
what you got. You
Yeah, it's
knew
still
what
that
you had.
charm.
You could work it. You worked it. You
Yeah,
know.
I
Personally, I've been
mean,
using.
it's surprising like that I'm able to make what I want to make now finally, but I'm
Yeah.
still kind of funny enough, just like scrounging together stuff to make it happen.
Yeah, yeah, and that's cool. And I couldn't imagine using one. I've been using non-linear editors from uh well, since I can remember.
Yeah.
I don't think I ever could attempt trying to edit on mobile now. It would drive me fucking
I also
crazy.
only got a mic like this to record like a year ago or so,
Mm,
maybe close to 2 years ago. And before that, for like the few videos I had a clip-on mic that clipped on my shirt
mm.
that I recorded, and that was actually, which actually goes back to the unboxing thing real quick. I used to always record on my phone until like 3 or 4, no, maybe I don't know, 4+ year, 3, 4 years ago. I got a tripod, like a little phone tripod. I had to like modify a little bit, put my phone on it, so I could actually record without holding my phone and the same. Because trust me, I had to pause the video and then resume the video to open it sometimes, to open this
Production
system, because
value.
it's hard to do with one hand to open a game case with
Yeah.
a knife. But I mean, I've done it, but it's hard. Um, so I eventually got that tripod so I could put my phone on there. I could angle it and everything. And then my girlfriend bought me the clip mic here, which I've done a few unboxings over the last couple years, that here and there sporadically, not just as kind of a throwback. And those, I still use that clip mic to record them, because I record them, live on like my table or something. Um, but like the quality of sound went up so much, because before it was just straight through the phone, and it was just a cool transition because I could finally, start recording stuff without having to hold it and do all that. And it was such an upgrade for me at the time. I was like, yeah, and then when I first started like mobile editing on the editor I use now, I still didn't have this mic. So some early videos, I used the clip on mic, hooked it into my phone, and I would take the footage like I do now and put it in there, but then I would have to go into the app, record the audio through that, and then do some slight editing. But my world changed when I did finally get a mic, and then I didn't know, like, I still was recording stuff through, actually, I was recording, this is even worse. I was recording audio through OBS as a video file, which is a pain in the ass. And then I had to take that video file, which takes up a lot more space than an audio file, send that to my phone, and then convert it into an audio file through the editor.
Jesus.
Yeah, I'm telling you, dude, it was a pain in the ass. And
God. You
then I
should have just
met
downloaded Audacity.
well, that
It's
happened. It did
free.
happen. I didn't know what Audacity was. I'd kind of lightly heard of it.
Mm.
And then I met Ruben from To Games That May Concern, and he's like, "Man, you should check out Audacity." And I was like, "A what?" And then I
Yeah.
downloaded it, and I was like, "Holy crap, my world just changed." Audio files are so much smaller and easier to transport around. And then I got tips from some other people, on like editing and like how to, you know, do compression and all these other things, which I had no idea how to do at first. And then I like watched a tutorial and like took some of their notes and just whatever. And then now, I mean, if you compare the way my videos sound now to then, my goodness, it's like night and day difference. The way they sound is
And to be
crazy.
fair, that's 90% of the video. It's like you could have absolute garbo footage, But as long as the audio's there, then people will watch it because
Yeah,
most of the time they're not actually watching it anymore. They're just putting it on in the
listening
background.
to it. Yeah, a lot of times people just listen. I mean,
Yeah,
even I do that sometimes. I'll just listen to the
yeah,
stuff. So then sometimes the audio, I mean, the audio is genuinely more important than the visual a lot of times. I mean, if you took a video that, like, let's just say the video was like professionally edited, but then the audio was like kind of garbage, it instantly makes the video almost unwatchable. Um,
yeah,
because you could take a video, like I've done it in the past. You could take a video that's like you just threw together like a bunch of clips from games, but then you have decent audio talking about whatever it is you're talking about with an okay thumbnail, and that's going to get you a lot more attention and perception than if you did the same thing but with really shitty audio.
yeah. Definitely, definitely. Yeah, definitely.
Um, something else I was going to say, and then I just lost it. Real time, it just went.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But yeah. So how's it going on the video front for you? Do you got anything new coming out, anything like that?
Yeah, well, as I'm constantly a neurological mess, I've always got at least 2 or 3 projects in the go at the same time.
I
At the
feel
moment,
that.
I'm working on a video. Yeah, at the moment, I'm working on a video for Murdered Soul Suspect.
Oh,
Murdered
you've piqued
Soul
my
Suspect.
interest.
Yes, I've never played it until for this video, but I've always had it in my periphery for some reason. It's like I bought it on Steam probably
Okay,
shortly
here's
after
the
it
rest of the
released.
podcast. It's just gonna be on Murder Soul Suspect because
Yeah,
I've
I
already
bought it.
started. It's clicking and clacking in my brain.
Yeah, I bought it. I must have bought it shortly after it released,
Yeah, yeah.
and I always had looked at it. And if I went to a game shop or wherever, you'd always find it in a bargain bin.
Yep.
A copy of Murdered Soul Suspect, and
There's
it's
an
like
interesting
every
story
time.
as to why too.
Oh yeah, but it's just like okay, I keep installing it and uninstalling it and installing it, uninstalling it on Steam, and after I did Callisto, I was like, you know what? I'm going to just do something completely different because I've done a few games of that ilk. It's time for a break.
Right.
And so I thought, right, I'm going to play this. And within the first, say, half an hour, I thought, yeah, this is an episode right here. And also, it's just such a fun game. Yes, it's got problems
Of course. Yeah, yeah.
because because the developers went defunct a month after
Yeah,
release.
literally like a month after they completely shut down, and they never even got to release an update. Not even one. Not even one update. Like
No,
at all. So
but for
nothing that
what
was
it
wrong with it was
is,
patched.
yeah, but for what it is, yes, it's got some bugs here and there, but they weren't enough for me to stop playing the game.
They're not game breaking, I don't think. I mean, I even encountered one when I was making my video. I don't know if you've seen it or not. When I was making that video, I mean, I had never seen this bug, but I was like going through, I think it was one of the places you go to that has like a basement, and I went down the stairs and turned around to go back, and like the entirety of the map disappeared. And I could see for miles through like game. And I was like,
Yeah,
and then I turned around and then turned back around and it was good.
yeah,
I was like,
that's
oh, okay.
the
So there's a
yeah,
little bit
that's
of
the
that,
culling
but
they.
it's not like terrible.
Yeah, that's Unreal Engine, the engine
Yeah.
culling to stop from tanking the frame rate. So if you do go under and it's got more terrain underneath the world, it's to stop it from
Yeah.
just lagging the fucking game out.
Yeah.
And yeah, Unreal Engine 3 has a tendency to not have it flash back
Yeah.
on
Yeah.
when you turn around. Because quite a lot of UT3 games had that. One I'm thinking of right now is oh shit. It was a JRPG Square one. It wasn't the Final Fantasy. It
Yeah, I mean,
was
I'm in the middle of
I can't remember.
playing
Whatever.
Singularity, and it has a little bit of that jank as well with some
Yes,
things.
yeah. It's Unreal Engine. It's always the third. The third one always seemed to be a bitch,
Well,
a pain in the
especially
ass
for
to run.
studios that didn't get the time to like fix it or patch it, or they were on a budget or a time constraint,
Yeah,
as the two games we just mentioned, Murdered and Singularity, very much so were.
yeah. But Murdered for me, I didn't have that many issues. There's a couple, but they're so
Yeah,
minor,
I
not
didn't
even
either.
worth talking about. But the game itself just like completely swept me off my feet because it's something that I love police procedurals anyway.
Yeah, me
I
too.
was brought up as a kid watching Columbo, Sherlock, the good
Yeah.
one, not Benedict Cumberbatch, not him, not that prick. And all the other like shows at the time,
Yeah.
especially in England, you get a lot of them, Dion Pascoe and Inspector Morse and all that, So that sort of thing, I'm all about that vibe straight away. So that police procedural stuff straight away, like, oh, okay, this is interesting.
Oh yeah.
And just the characters, like Ronan,
Oh,
the lead
it's
character, and
dude.
Joy, are just so much fun to be around.
Yeah. Like and it's so well written for like you would go into it not thinking that it is as well written as it is. And like how much
Mm.
like the side missions and the collectibles are
Yes.
so interesting and so
Mm.
much deeper than you would ever expect from the kind of game that it is.
Yeah, it was blowing my mind because when I did a couple of side missions, I thought, oh, this is cool. But then when I was doing my research part after I beat the game,
Yeah.
I'm like, oh shit, this is based on actual events that happened in
Yep.
Salem.
Yep.
Like the one with the girl in the tugboat who tried to help people get off this fucking boat before it
Mhm.
drowns, before it sinks. And no, that was an actual event that happened. Like,
Mhm.
oh, that's cool.
I think just about
And
everything in it is based on mostly real events. A few of them are fictional, but a lot of them are real, and a lot of the history used in the overall narrative of the game is
yeah,
real, and it just adds this like layer of, I mean, realism, but like a layer of just intrigue through the entirety of the
yeah,
game, and there's just an atmosphere to it and like a feel that not many other games have, and it's such a unique
yeah,
concept to play not only as a detective but as a ghost detective trying to
yeah,
solve his own murder and then unraveling all these other stories while you're on a journey to unravel your own. And it's actually kind of funny. I I really like the game, and it's the more I think about it, the more I think about it, the more I like it. And I had a similar a weird story, but like when you you know what Redbox is?
yeah.
Okay, let's like
Yeah, it's
the
where all the Bruce Willis movies go to die.
exactly, there you go. So
Yeah.
like Redbox machine back when they still sold or still printed games, which was all the way up until 2019. So back in 2014, when Murder Soul Suspect came out, I never saw marketing. I never saw anything, which is probably, I mean, a good percentage as to why it failed. I don't think they had any. I don't think Square Enix had any care on what really happened. Um, but so I found it at Redbox because at the time I would rent games here and there from Redbox, and I rented it. Like my brother sat and watched me play it. Like, dang, this is an interesting game. I think I made it as far as like the the cathedral, and then I had
Mm.
to return it, and then it just sat in the back of my mind for a couple years until I eventually went to GameStop, saw that it was on Xbox One as well, and grabbed it for like $10 or something. That's
Yeah.
probably like 2015 or 2016. And then it went on to like honestly be up there as like one of the coolest. I hate I it's hard to say action, but like this adventure game kind of thing from the third person perspective that is so unique in every way. Like there's just nothing else like it. You know what I mean? And it's so sad what happened to Airtight Games after the fact. Like
Yeah.
how much love
Well,
was put
yeah,
into it.
it's a game that we desperately needed more of at that time because that's
Yeah.
when the vice grip of the modern military shooter and the third person action game was in full effect.
Yeah.
And yes, they put in that little bit of stealth shit because you had to pander to those dickheads,
Yeah, yeah,
but
yeah. I think that's the only reason it was there. I think I even said that in my video. I was like, I think that this, that was just forced in there because like they're like, hey, we need something from normal games. You know what I mean? That's put it in there.
yeah.
You
And
get to stealth attack
yeah,
demons.
it's also way ahead of its time as well because if that game came out now and it was a double A, a
Yeah.
triple
Oh
I or
yeah.
a double A game, it would be doing really well right now because people will
Yes.
be just enamored with the world and the
Yeah.
characters and everything else.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So it's one of those times where it came out, it didn't do anything, But I think it's one of those games that through word of mouth, especially on YouTube with the
Yeah,
essayists and the video twats
yeah.
like
I think
myself.
that it would be right up there with like Plague Tale Innocence, and it might have even got a sequel if
Yeah,
it came out today, and it would be like up there with Hellblade and like Vampire and stuff like that. I think it would be one of those double A darlings, even if it didn't
yeah,
do like well. Also, it would have helped if it didn't have Square Enix as a publisher because it was such a double A game made by a double A studio for a triple A publisher, and that just didn't make sense. So it was never going
yeah.
to meet their
Through
financial needs anyway. So
no, and especially with my research, I found a source which isn't credited, which is a bit dodgy,
yeah,
but it sort of confirmed my thoughts on the overall game.
yeah, I've read
But
I've
also
read a lot
Square
of
Enix,
interviews.
did exactly the same thing a few years later with The Quiet Man. So
Yeah,
yeah,
it's
and that was a
yeah,
lot worse.
yeah, yeah, and
Good grief, yeah, that's a whole new kettle of madness.
yeah. I
I
mean,
fucking
it's
reviewed that game and
oh yeah,
Jesus. I had a
uh,
bit of an unhealthy obsession with that game for a while
oh
because
yeah,
it's only about 2 hours long, and I think I completed it about 10 times for that review. Because there's two versions of it. There's the silent version, or the deaf version, if you want to call it that, then the full sound version. So you really got to play one and then the other to get the full scope of what's going on.
okay,
So I went and yeah, I just hyper focused on it, and I think I beat it about that. Yeah, I think it was 5 times each in about
oh
2 weeks. And in the end, I was like, all right, I think I have enough now.
yeah, yeah,
I don't know. It's such a that's what I think that's what makes my like content tick on YouTube is that I like that weird shit. I like it
yeah,
when there's an idea or an author or whatever. They say, right, we're gonna make this. And most of the time it's fucking garbage, but it's so interesting.
right,
And I think that's where because I kind of got tired because there was a phase in my YouTube like hobby where I would review the obvious bad games.
right, yeah,
And it just got to the point where that just felt like I'm not getting any benefit. I'm not feeling personally fulfilled doing that shit. So once I pivoted away from that and started covering games I do like and also like covering auteurs like the boy behind me there, Monsieur Cage,
yeah,
it it's just interesting to see the mind of someone who could be locked into a fucking cell rather than making video games. But it's like,
right,
well, it, what I'm trying to say is kind of like I feel like I'm an explorer. I'm like
right,
I'm walking through like the caves where Cthulhu lies, and I'm not. I'm trying not to lose my mind, but
yeah, yeah, yeah,
more weird shit just keeps coming, and
yeah.
I don't know. I seem to have more fun making that type of content rather than the obvious crap.
Yeah, I mean,
So
it
like games,
definitely. Yeah, I definitely see that being a little bit more interesting, more explorative,
yeah,
and entertaining, even because of it being that
yeah,
most bad or misunderstood or whatever kind of game it is. That's it's like I've kind of, I guess, somewhat made it my thing to defend these misunderstood games and like double A kind of stuff like Murdered and so on. So people have went out and called me the defender of the underdog on several occasions, and I was like, I guess it fits. That is a lot of what I do, and I have a lot more of a positive perspective on like talking about video games than a lot of people, and I guess that gives me an interesting angle. But I always try to look for the good even amongst some of the worst, I guess.
yeah. Well, and that's perfectly understandable because there's so many people who just rant and rave and
Yeah,
just make just clickbaity bollocks, and it's just not it. It doesn't do your brain any favors.
yeah,
It's just trash. It's just sludge
oh
being
yeah,
poured into
just
your brain.
churned.
So, and that's what people, when you do start, people start seeing your content and start following you. That's what they want to see. They want to see that genuine
Yeah,
opinion rather than some performative bullshit. All right, granted, I will lean into that sort of snarky asshole
Right.
attitude sometimes, but that's the part of the fun. I'm not. This doesn't make me disingenuous
Yeah.
in that way, but and and I'm not trying to be a contrarian either. It's like, there's some games that are flawed as fuck, but they are great,
Still fun
entertaining.
or entertaining. Yeah.
Yeah, entertaining games. And there's other games that want to pander to a certain demographic, and they're just fucking trash,
Right.
like Callisto. It just
Yeah, I don't think Callisto's trash personally, but
yeah, but
I
that's the fun about it. I'm
it
not going to call you out on that because
right,
that's
yeah,
your
yeah.
opinion. That's
Yeah, I
yeah,
mean, your opinion on, disliking it or disliking things that they've done. I agree with a lot of people's opinion on the game, though. I mean, I agree with I mean, the amount of transitions, like walking in, traversing areas is terrible. Like it's just so many.
yeah,
Why? And I played Dead Space 2 right before, and Dead Space 2 had I beat it for the first time right before playing Callisto, and it kind of has a similar issue at times. It's not nearly as egregious as Callisto is in that using these things to get you between areas as much. But then also, like right before playing Callisto, I played through Evil West, which also has an issue with using a lot of those kind of things. But I think that Evil West still somehow did it like less so and had a lot more to do in between those times of just traversing through
yeah.
moments where the control is taken away from you other than pushing forward.
I think how game design is like gone now in newer terms, they're trying to make everything continuous. They don't want to cut away. They don't want a black screen saying loading
Yeah.
at the bottom. They
They
want you
also
to be
don't want
completely
a lot of times to allow you freedom to think for yourself and figure stuff out. And I think
yeah.
the biggest like word I'm looking for here. I don't know. The one that does it the worst, I think, is like the most recent God of War games.
Yeah. I'm playing Days Gone and it has a bit of that as well, where uh Deacon has to constantly tell you something that's obvious.
Yeah, yeah,
Or probably the most egregious version, like you said with God of War,
yeah.
that's pretty annoying.
Especially
But the
Ragnarok, it
one that
seems.
made me not stop playing it instantly was Horizon Zero Dawn. It's like straight away, within the first 30 seconds, you're in a cave. And Aloy saying, "Oh, I'm in a cave." It's like, no shit, Sherlock. I can see with
Everybody
my
guessed.
eyes. I'm not a fucking idiot. And then,
Guess I'm supposed
like,
to play
I'm
it
playing the game a
blind.
little bit longer. Yeah, I'm playing the game a little bit longer, and there's one bit where because every PlayStation Prestige game has it. You gotta sneak into the tall grass because you're stealthing it up. And there was like one of the robot dinosaurs,
Yeah.
whatever. Oh look, there's one right there. Like, I know, woman. Shut your mouth. Just fucking,
Yeah, it's an interesting
just
thing.
like,
You mentioned like Days
oh,
Gone. It I actually really like Days Gone like a lot more than
I'm enjoying it.
the
Yeah,
public
I am enjoying it.
majority of people. But also Sony screwed over Ben Studio. They screwed over Days Gone in so many ways. And I'm sure if you ever make a video on or anything like that, I'm sure you'll look into all that because it's a shit show. And
Hmm.
John what is it? John Garvin and another guy who were like the heads of the studio have talked about it a lot, especially with what's his name? The guy who was one of the original creators of the original God of War, David Jaffe.
Yeah, Dave Jaffe. Yeah, yeah.
They've talked with him. Like, there's two podcasts that he did with them, which is extremely interesting on perspective of how that all went. And I thought they really fucked him over with like Days Gone actually over the course of a year made the same or a little bit more than Ghost of Tsushima did in a year. Um, and they still said, "Oh, sorry, it's just not worth it." But they also said that like Sony internal never came over and looked at their game. They never cared. They never gave a shit. They were just trying to rush them along, whatever. But anyway, today's gone. It does have a little bit of that. pointing out the obvious shit, the protagonist that talks a lot. But I don't think that it's as bad as like Horizon or God of War or anything like that. I don't think it's nearly as egregious as those are. It does have a little bit of it, like you walk into the camp, oh man, I need gas for that generator. No shit. No shit. It's off. No shit.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. But that's also just become like an issue with games. Like I was saying, Evil West, it doesn't really have that issue as far as like telling
No.
you what to do and stuff, but it does have the like highlighted, like fucking bright ass chains that show you where to go. Even optional areas, which is annoying as hell. It's the worst part of that game is that it's just you got highlighted bright, which they got that from God of War, like the just signposting shit.
Yeah.
And that
I'm not too
started.
bothered by that.
Yeah,
I'm
it's.
more sorry. I'm
No, you're fine.
more I'm not really too bothered about the signposting, but
Yeah,
what annoys me is the
there's a
characters that
degree.
talk too much.
Yeah. I mean, the character
Right?
constantly, like for Ragnarok, like it's really bad. I mean, I haven't played Ragnarok. I haven't even beat the first one, but I have seen a lot of Ragnarok gameplay, and man, like you can't even complete a puzzle by yourself. Like,
Yeah, there was that one going
like
about, wasn't it? Like,
yeah, there
oh,
was
hit
that
the
one, but
targets. The big
yes, yeah,
targets that are spinning around.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
all right.
But there's apparently every single puzzle in that game is like that. It's like you get like as soon as you walk up to the puzzle, he's like, "Oh, maybe we interact with the thing, right?" And then you get like 10 seconds to figure out the whole puzzle, or he just gives you the answer. And you can't even turn that shit off. I'm like, why is that a thing? You don't need this little dickhead sitting here in your ear going, hey, 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 the answer's right there. What the hell's wrong with you? Why are you trying to figure it out? The answer's right there. Like, I don't care. Let me figure it out. It's a puzzle. Why have puzzles in the game if you don't let me solve them? Like, video games have had puzzles for years. I mean, there's a million different things with puzzles, and I love puzzles, but like, let me solve them. Let me get stuck for
Yeah.
5 seconds before you tell me what the answer is.
Well, that's the thing. They're scared that people will bounce off. Like
And I
if they're
think that
not
that's
spoon fed.
yeah, and that's the issue with Sony being so influential on the games industry, because their games are so tightly developed to be mainstream, basic with innovation, and designed for your average everyday person that they set the standard for games. So then people want to meet those standards that a lot of them don't need to be there. Like, okay, sure, having accessibility features, yeah, every game should have them. Subtitles, things for deaf people, blind people, etc. Like, yeah, that's cool, that's fine. Put those in there. Nobody has an issue with that. That's an awesome standard that is becoming more of a thing that Sony started more than anybody. But having it to where like you get a hint for puzzles within 10 seconds of even attempting it is stupid. And it's not even just a hint, it's like solving it for you. It's in real time, the game is solving the puzzle for you because they don't trust the
Yeah.
player enough to solve it themselves. Having, not that it's a bad thing to have, like yellow ladders in RE4 Remake. Mad Max had those for climbable locations. Dying Light has those for climbable locations. That's fine, but it depends in the context that it's designed. Like if in Resident Evil 4, like if you're gonna have ladders everywhere, have all of them be climbable
Yeah.
because it's a fucking ladder. If
Yeah.
don't have like ladders everywhere and then only one ladder that's painted yellow because somebody was running from a monster and just splashed paint all over the fucking wall, and that's the only one you can climb. That's just poor design. Like, okay, if you only want one ladder to be climbable, then just have one ladder in the area. Why have ladders everywhere and then have only one you can climb? That's just stupid. Um, and having that in games is not inherently a bad thing. To point out the direction, but I think that it makes even more sense to not throw yellow paint on something and then just have it like, or I mean, as far as like figuring out where to go, like in the context of Mad Max or Dying Light, where they're big games, that's okay. But in the context of something so small and short, like if you just had good level design and used the environment to hint at where to go or give you a sense of where to go, that it feels like you are finding it on your own. It gives you a better sense of
Yeah.
accomplishment without having a big ass yellow arrow on the wall that points in this direction, and then like yellow ass ladder, and then a yellow steps, and then like it's just a bunch of highlighted shit. Like I think Ragnarok does it with like runes or something. Like they put runes, like big ass runes plastered on shit to like that you climb and interact with. And I'm like, that's just why. Like it's the God of War games are like largely extremely linear games. You don't even need signposting. Like you can only go
No.
forward and occasionally off the beaten path. Why do you need signposting? Like why do you need blatant highlighted shit to tell you where to go? Oh,
Yeah,
I about dumped my drink everywhere.
that's all right.
Sorry
Yeah,
about
I
the
think
rant, but yeah.
no, I think that's the best way to put a button on this one.
Yeah,
Say,
yeah, I
yeah,
mean,
modern games suck. Don't bother.
yeah. I mean, it's and that's why it's cool when there are like standouts. Can't think of any at the moment, but there are standouts that don't have that. I mean, let's just say like Elden Ring or something. It doesn't have signposting everywhere. Whether you like it or dislike it, they do a decent enough job trying to like figure out like where you can go, or Dark Souls, or something like that new Liza P game, or something like that. It's just like they do a good job of level design to like kind of show you where to go, versus your
Yeah,
typical average AAA game. But I think AA and stuff are better at that, but they're also being influenced by AAA to put a lot of that in because they feel like they don't have it, then they're going to lose like a majority of their audience.
yeah, because apparently everyone's all a big dum dum that can afford enough money to
Right.
spend that much money on a friggin' next gen console.
Right.
Oh, AAA gaming, you are funny.
Yeah, truly. It's interesting time for but
All right, we'll wrap this up.
unless you got anything else specific you want to talk about.
No, I just thought I'd just hang out and
Okay,
see
yeah.
how it went, and yeah,
Yeah, I
it was
mean,
fun.
but yeah, I mean, well, I was gonna jump back to the murdered sole suspect for just.
Yeah, go on.
So, have you beat that just once or more than once?
I've beat it twice now. Yeah, I've
Did
beat it
you
twice.
attempt like 100%ing it?
Nah, I don't 100% games anymore unless
That's
they are
fair.
very short
Yeah.
or games that I do want to. And to be fair, I can't remember the last time I actually did 100% a
Mm.
game.
Yeah, I mean,
Because most of the time I've got so many games lined
yeah, oh
up.
yeah,
I
no, I
will
feel
just
that.
do what I need to do. If it's something that's absolutely important for like the video,
Yeah.
and I will do it. But most of the time, no, I don't really give a shit about completion. What
Yeah,
about
I mean,
yourself?
I think when I was doing my video on it, I did 100% the game. But then the annoying thing is that there's one achievement I don't have in the game for Xbox. And that's the achievement for getting the last the ghost graffiti. I forget what it's called. And
Yeah.
I did get it, but the game just glitched out and didn't give me the achievement. I'm like,
I
no.
didn't realize I didn't realize that was a thing until like near the end of the game when I
My original
accidentally bumped
playthrough,
into one.
I did not know that they were even hardly in the game. I feel like I saw one or something, but I
Mm.
didn't even know it was a thing until I was trying to 100% the game, and I didn't know where all of them were. So I used a guide, and I was like, I didn't even know that these were like a thing that were all throughout the game. But they're pretty prevalent actually. There's quite a few of them.
Yeah, a lot of collectibles, but that's very much of the time as well. The game design of achievements and
The
stuff.
the ones that you like find the item that you reveal in each level that unlock the ghost stories. Have you completed any of those?
I've done a couple of them,
Yeah.
but after a while,
Right.
I just couldn't find them. And in the end, I just like, you know what? I'm
Yeah.
gonna just look up on YouTube and find the
Yeah, some
stories.
of them are a pain in the ass, but those ghost stories are really cool. Really cool.
Mm.
Like they add as much as those side missions do. Because they have it's a whole like uh they give you like a picture once you collect them all, and then you listen to the story. And they're pretty cool. Some of them are pretty messed up though. The one about the asylum that you go to in the game.
Yeah.
There's one that you find. The one that you find there is pretty messed up. But it adds a lot to the world and the times.
Okay. Yeah, I'll have to go back and do those then.
There,
Third playthrough. Let's
yeah, there you
go.
go. There you go. Hey, it's not a crazy long game, really.
No, it took about 4 or 5 hours to get it through the first time,
Yeah.
and probably about the same the second. So
And if you try to do
yeah.
everything, I mean, I still think you come under like 6, probably. You used a guide, that is. If you didn't use a guide, I mean, who
Mm.
knows? Yeah, I mean, have you been playing anything else recently other than Murdered for Video and stuff like that?
But like I said, I've been playing Days Gone, but
Yeah, yeah.
that's I don't know how long that's going to take. I do want to do a video on it, but that could probably be months down the line
Wow,
because
yeah.
it's quite a big game,
It is a big game.
and I'm not really rushing through it. The only other thing I've got in the pipeline at the moment is a game called The Last Door,
Yeah, I've
which
never heard of
is
that
an
one.
adventure game. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's an adventure game that came out in 2013. It was a Kickstarter project.
Hmm.
And I don't know why, just like Bernard, it's been on my periphery for years. And I was talking to my girlfriend, and she recommended it quite a bit. The what made it stand out at the time was it was a very low. It looked like an Atari 2600 game. It was very
Like
blocky and
2013.
pixelated. And that yeah, it was very stylized for the time. And It's just got a wild story.
Hmm.
It's Cthulhu like inspired, but it's not
So
got
when we
all the
say
fucking.
adventure, do we mean like, is it like first
It's a point and
person?
clicker.
Point and click. Okay.
No, it's a point and click adventure game. It is like old school as old school could
Gotcha, gotcha.
be. And it's episodic as well. So when it was kickstarted, it came out over a year, these episodes. But I've binged them,
Yeah.
because I didn't play them when they came out. And I've really enjoyed it. As I could probably count on one hand how many point and click games I've played in my life. But the more I've gone into like the stories and narrative design and shit in
Oh, yeah.
games, the more I see to be focused on, like I should be focusing on more on like adventure game stuff.
Yeah, those are some of the more interesting ones. Even stuff like the walking sims, like Firewatch and stuff like that are also
Yeah,
pretty interesting in that area. Road 96, stuff like that.
yeah, and so I thought, as a complete departure, I'd cover that because after the Silent Hill 2 video, I was going to do Silent Hill 1, and I
Yeah.
put a poll up, and people were like, "Yeah, that's great and all, but everyone's done Silent Hill 1." Like, okay, so maybe I'll put that on the back burner and do a few like weird games for now. Oh, yeah, I just want to just cover something a little bit different
Yeah.
because how many more third-person violent games I could play without repeating my fucking self,
Right. Uh
and sort of leaning back into the horror shit. So
yeah.
it's not a full-on horror game, but it's got some spooky shit. It's got a great atmosphere,
Yeah.
and one thing that really made me appreciate it a lot more now than I probably would have done back then was its you know emphasis on that Atari sort of look,
Wow. Yeah.
because it makes you use a lot more of your imagination when it comes to the more
Right.
spooky shit.
And to try to
I wouldn't
figure
say
out
it's
what
a
you're seeing and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's not like a full-on horror game, but there's
Right.
elements where it allows you to fill in the gaps,
Create your own horror in a
which
way.
which kind of you don't really see that anymore,
No.
especially going back on the Callisto where it's so blatant and everything is
Yeah, it's it's
just right in
it's
your
not
face.
hiding that it's horror.
Yeah, and it's I'm kind of tired of that shit. So playing games like Murdered and this
That is,
has
yeah.
been like more fun for me, and
Yeah.
hopefully something will come out of it. But
I don't
yeah,
think
that's
I've
what I've been playing as
I don't think
well.
I've played many point and click adventure games unless you count Telltale.
Well, I would, but
It's
because they were just
technically
like
yeah, it's like a variation of that. A lot of the
yeah, it's
people
a
who
modern twist of it.
yeah, a lot of people who made those games were originally from studios that did or
Yeah,
and yeah, I
because
know
when
there's
I
some
was
people out there who don't consider them that. They say they're a whole different thing, but I mean, it's pretty close.
Well, like with Murdered, the initial my initial reaction to it is basically it's an adventure game without the pointing and clicking.
I mean, it is.
It's
Yeah, there's
just
a
a
lot of
modern.
interacting
It's
with
just a
stuff.
twist to it. It's a
Yeah,
modern twist to it.
yeah.
And any game like that for me is always a gateway drug. Like when
It
I did my
really is
walking
like
sim
just
video,
a adventure game.
yeah,
You're
like
just
when I did my walking sim video, I said about
still need to
Hellblade.
watch
I
that.
was like, Hellblade is on the line between a walking simulator and
Yeah,
a typical third-person action game, but it's a perfect gateway drug into walking sims
yeah,
if you think that
yeah.
side of it is more appealing to you.
It's also a good gateway into like jumping into more hack and slash games too, that are a lot more
Yeah,
like DMC, God of War, stuff like that. Like if you liked that element as well, it's a good little middle ground kind of game.
yeah. So I'm having fun trying. I don't know if these videos do anything. They'll probably fall flat on their face, but it's one of those things that I don't. Yeah, because I get 100 recommendations a month about, oh, play this game, play that game. And if I did that, it would be fine, but they would, I probably wouldn't be doing YouTube for very long after the fact.
Yeah, I
So
mean,
this is what keeps me going. Yeah, the inquisitive, um, constantly curious thing about
yeah,
games. It's like finding these little games in, yeah, all over the place and
I think
seeing what they're
it's
like.
better to like come up with an idea, write that idea down, maybe make a video on it, and like constantly still having the like I like to call it a childlike appreciation for games and trying new
Yeah,
things is so much better not only for you mentally but for what you're creating in your own art.
yeah.
And that way you're not in a constant negative space, but you're not constantly trying to like chase trends or chase the new game or whatever things that'll just drive you
I don't
crazy.
care about that. I get offered for keys for stuff all the time, and most of the time it gets turned down because a new game, yeah, if it's something I'm really into, I
Yeah,
will
yeah,
probably will pick up round about its release or wait 6 months. But it doesn't have any history to it. It's
yeah.
like to me, half of like talking about a game is
The
also
learning
the
process.
history, the people who made it and stuff.
Yeah,
Like maybe this is kind of, I don't know, pretentious in a way, but I feel like when I'm making a video, I'm living that game. I'm fucking living, breathing, thinking,
yeah, because
working
you're
on it.
digging deep into it, you're diving into everything.
Yeah, it's like it's kind of like momentary madness where you are, because even there's been some games where I've played where I've had dreams of them. I'm asleep and before I wake up, I have a dream of that game.
That's cool.
It's
Interesting.
I don't know about that. It can be quite concerning,
Depends on the game, I guess.
but yeah, it's like sometimes I feel like that full immersion sometimes is that's how I operate the best because
At least
I
you're
could probably hack out
focused
of it.
fully on that
Yeah,
thing,
yeah, I could probably hack out a video within a few days of a game, but it wouldn't feel like I've done
fully,
what I like
experience
doing.
the game.
Yeah, because that's part of what makes me enjoy doing this. If
Yeah,
I was just pushing out videos daily for 5 minutes of like, oh, this is how I feel about this, this is how I feel, it would be fine, but it wouldn't make me feel like I've done a video that people want to
right.
watch.
Yeah,
It's not like I
I've
really
made
hold myself
videos.
to high standard anymore
Right.
because there's sometimes now where if I've got to a point where I'm nearly done with a video, I want to get out the door.
Yeah.
But for how I like making content now and reactions I get from when I put them out, I get a lot of I get a lot of what's the best word for it? A lot of pleasure out of making the stuff I
Yeah.
do. You know, and sometimes it falls flat on its face, but other times it doesn't. But either way, I
It's a
enjoy
good
doing it.
feeling when people enjoy the stuff that you create or put out there and
Yeah,
the effort that you put into it and stuff like that. I also I think the videos that because I've put out videos that were a lot less effort and it was kind of just like an opinion piece kind of thing. But like
mm,
I definitely get more enjoyment and feel better about the videos that I release that have a lot more time and effort put into the research side and so on than I do the other one, which is why I'm taking a long time to make my next video, which is Darkness 2. Um,
Also, the thing is that people appreciate that as well. Like the
yeah,
people who watch you and want to see you make content, they'll still be there. Like I think all of us at one point have had this thing in my head where you got to turn videos over quickly or people are
oh
going to
yeah,
forget about you. But there was times where I would barely upload, and every time I would upload, you'd get a handful of people like, "Oh man, yeah, it's been a while. I can't wait to see this."
yeah,
And that's nice, you know. To me now, when uploading a video, it's a bit, yeah, like I said, this, whatever. This, it feels like every time I upload a video for my little audience, it feels like a WrestleMania. It's like this is the big one, you know. Everyone's going to
the
enjoy it.
big
It's going to be
one. There
great,
you
you
go.
know. And
Yeah,
and I love that. It's like, and also the book club sort of nature of my
yeah,
content, especially in the last year or so, where I would announce the game I'm going to work on about a month before the video goes up.
right.
And I get people now excited, like, "Oh, cool," you know, and they play the game and all that. And then in the comments, like, "Oh, I played the game because you announced it." And, you know, this is what I think about it. And it's like that.
Yeah, that's
I love
all.
that as
Yeah,
well.
that discourse is
Yeah.
cool to have.
Yeah, that's cool. So yeah, you get you get a few pedantic Peters, but you know you always get that.
Yeah,
But yeah, I don't know. It's like I've seen them cultivate a little audience in the last couple years that seem to be into my shit, and that's really, I get imposter syndrome, but I do appreciate that, and it
right.
makes me want to do more.
Yeah, I mean, it's
Yeah,
people enjoying it that makes you enjoy it more, and then you want to keep doing it. All about.
yeah, 'cause that's the worst thing. Like for years, and I think you've probably been there too, when you upload to the void and no one's saying anything.
Yeah,
You throw stuff up there. Look at this. Nothing.
nothing.
Yeah, and but you know, if you can get that handful of people that want to see your next upload and are always into it, then you know, I think that's
Makes a hell
far
of a
more
difference.
fulfilling. And yeah, and I find that far more fulfilling than just not having that at all.
I agree. Well, I guess we will go ahead and wrap this up, man. It's been a good time
Mm,
talking to you, and especially since I haven't really talked to you a whole lot, just here and there online. But
mm.
I definitely gotta catch up on some of your other stuff. I've been meaning to watch a few videos. I gotta do that. But it was good talking to you. Hopefully we can do it again
Yeah,
sometime soon.
yeah, sure.
Sure, I discuss it, but I've we've got so many podcast things planned. It's crazy. But
You're
see how it
that
goes.
podcast grind now, yeah.
I know it's just a new element. I'll probably have to take a break in a few months or something.
Fair enough.
All right, man. Well, it's been a good time. It's good having you on.
Thank
Everybody,
you.
go check out Scott and his channel, Scott's Game Asylum. All right, man. I'll talk to you later. See you around.
All right. See ya.